There comes a moment in every man's life when effort alone is no longer enough. He works harder, thinks deeper, endures more, yet something invisible keeps pulling him back. Not an enemy outside, but attachments within. The ancient thinkers warned us of this moment. They taught that progress does not begin with adding more, but with cutting away what weakens the soul. If a man wishes to succeed, not briefly but permanently, there are things he must sever without regret. This is not about becoming cold or heartless, it is about becoming unshakable, and we walk this path together. 1. Cut off the need for approval. One of the most dangerous habits a man can carry into adulthood is the need to be validated by others. It looks harmless at first, wanting to be liked, respected, accepted, but beneath it lies a quiet weakness that slowly erodes character. A man who needs approval is never fully in control of his life. His decisions are filtered through fear, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of standing alone. The ancient thinkers understood this deeply. Epictetus warned that if we allow external opinions to govern our inner state, we surrender our freedom. The moment we depend on applause, we become performers, not men of principle. We adjust our words, suppress our instincts, and abandon our values just to stay comfortable in the eyes of others. True success demands solitude of conviction. When we cut off the need for approval, something powerful happens. We begin to act from alignment, not insecurity. We stop asking, "How will this make me look?" and start asking, "Is this right?" That shift strengthens the spine of the soul. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that it is better to live in agreement with nature than in harmony with the crowd. The crowd changes, opinions shift, praise today becomes criticism tomorrow. A man who builds his identity on external validation will always feel unstable, always chasing, never arriving. Cutting off approval-seeking does not mean becoming arrogant or dismissive of others. It means anchoring your worth internally. It means knowing who you are when no one is watching. When praise disappears, you remain steady. When criticism arrives, you do not collapse. Psychological research aligns with this ancient wisdom. Individuals with strong internal validation demonstrate higher resilience, clearer decision-making, and long-term success. They are less reactive, less anxious, and more focused. They move forward while others hesitate. As we walk this path, we must accept a hard truth. Growth often invites misunderstanding. When you stop seeking approval, some will feel threatened. Some will call you distant. Some will try to pull you back into old patterns. Let them. A man cannot rise while carrying the emotional expectations of everyone around him. Success begins the moment we choose self-respect over approval. When we cut this cord, we reclaim our authority. And from that place of inner sovereignty, real strength is born. 2. Cut off emotional reactivity. A man cannot build a strong life if his emotions control his actions. Emotional reactivity is one of the most silent destroyers of progress. It shows itself in anger that speaks too fast, in pride that refuses to listen, in frustration that leads to reckless decisions. When emotions lead, wisdom follows behind, if it arrives at all. The ancient masters understood that emotion itself is not the enemy, lack of discipline is. Epictetus taught that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. A man who reacts instantly to every insult, setback, or inconvenience hands over his power to the outside world. His mood becomes a puppet pulled by circumstances. Cutting off emotional reactivity does not mean suppressing feelings or becoming cold. It means creating space between stimulus and response. It means learning to pause. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily, reminding himself to observe his impressions before obeying them. In that pause lives freedom. When we react emotionally, we often act against our long-term interests. Anger damages relationships. Impulsiveness destroys trust. Fear shrinks potential. But when we train ourselves to remain calm under pressure, we gain an unfair advantage. While others lose control, we remain centered. While others argue, we observe. While others panic, we decide. Modern psychology confirms this ancient insight. Emotional regulation is strongly linked to leadership, resilience, and success. Those who master their reactions are better problem solvers and more respected by others. Calm becomes a form of authority. To cut off emotional reactivity, we must stop identifying with every feeling that passes through us. Emotions are temporary visitors, not commanders. We can feel anger without acting in anger. We can feel fear without surrendering to it. This is not weakness, it is mastery. As men walking this path together, we accept that discipline begins internally. When we no longer allow emotions to dictate our behavior, we reclaim control over our lives. Strength is not loud, it is composed. The man who rules his inner world cannot be easily defeated by the outer one. 3. Cut off the addiction to comfort. A man who worships comfort slowly trades his potential for temporary ease. Comfort feels harmless at first, soft routines, familiar excuses, endless distractions, but over time, it dulls the edge that growth requires. The Stoics understood this danger deeply. They warned that a life built around avoiding discomfort becomes fragile, dependent, and weak when tested. Seneca wrote that we should occasionally practice hardship so that we are not unprepared when hardship arrives uninvited. Comfort addiction does the opposite. It trains us to flee resistance, to choose what feels good now over what builds strength later. And life, without exception, will demand strength. When we choose comfort repeatedly, discipline erodes. We delay hard conversations. We avoid difficult work. We postpone responsibility. Slowly, we become reactive instead of proactive, waiting for motivation instead of acting from principle. This is how ambition dies quietly. Cutting off comfort does not mean living in misery. It means refusing to let ease dictate our decisions. It means choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, waking up when it's uncomfortable, training when the body resists, staying focused when distraction offers relief. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the obstacle is the way. What resists us is not an enemy, it is the forge. Every time we voluntarily step into discomfort, we strengthen our capacity to endure life's inevitable pressure. We become less dependent on external conditions and more rooted in inner resolve. Modern research aligns with this ancient wisdom. Delayed gratification, discomfort tolerance, and disciplined routines are among the strongest predictors of long-term success. Those who can sit with discomfort without escaping it outperform those who cannot. As men walking this path together, we must be honest, comfort has never built anything great. Every meaningful transformation requires friction. Growth demands strain. 4. Cut off the need for external validation. The moment a man starts living for approval, he hands his power to other people. Praise becomes fuel. Criticism becomes poison. His direction is no longer guided by inner values, but by shifting opinions. The Stoics saw this as one of the most silent forms of slavery. Epictetus warned that if you seek validation outside yourself, you place your peace in hands you do not control. The crowd is unstable. Today it applauds, tomorrow it condemns. A man who depends on external validation will constantly adjust his identity to please others, and in doing so, lose himself. This need often hides behind ambition. We say we want success, but deep down, we want recognition. We chase applause instead of mastery. We perform instead of becoming. And performance without inner grounding leads to exhaustion, anxiety, and emptiness. Cutting off external validation does not mean becoming arrogant or cold. It means anchoring your self-worth internally. It means measuring yourself by effort, integrity, and discipline, not likes, praise, or approval. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to do what is right, even if no one is watching, even if no one understands. When a man releases the need to be seen, he becomes free to build quietly. He stops explaining himself. He stops proving. He starts refining. This silence is powerful. It allows focus. It allows long-term vision. It protects energy. Psychological research supports this ancient idea. People who base self-worth on internal standards show higher resilience and lower emotional volatility. They are harder to manipulate, harder to distract, and harder to break. As we walk this path together, we must accept a hard truth. Not everyone will approve of our growth. Some will misunderstand it. Some will resist it. That is the price of self-mastery. When we cut off the hunger for validation, we gain something far greater: self-respect. And a man who respects himself does not need permission to succeed. 5. Cut off emotional attachment to outcomes. One of the most powerful shifts a man can make is learning to act without being emotionally chained to results. Most men suffer not because they act, but because they cling. They work, love, sacrifice, and then demand life reward them in a specific way. When it doesn't, frustration, bitterness, and self-doubt follow. The Stoics identified this as a hidden weakness. Epictetus taught that we should focus entirely on what is within our control, our effort, our character, our choices, and release obsession with outcomes, which are governed by forces beyond us. The man who ties his emotional state to results lives in constant tension. The man who releases outcomes gains calm strength. Emotional attachment distorts judgment. It makes us desperate. It pushes us to rush decisions, compromise values, or abandon discipline when results are slow. Instead of building patiently, we begin reacting emotionally. This is where many men lose years of progress. Cutting off attachment does not mean apathy. It means commitment without desperation. You still work relentlessly. You still aim high. But you accept that results arrive on their own timeline. Marcus Aurelius wrote that nature unfolds as it must. Our task is to act rightly, not to control the unfolding. When we detach, we become dangerous in the best sense. Failure no longer crushes us. Success no longer inflates us. We remain steady, calm, focused. Modern psychology mirrors this truth. Those who separate self-worth from outcomes perform better under pressure and recover faster from setbacks. They persist where others quit. As men walking this path together, we must understand life will test us. Outcomes will disappoint us. But if we master our response, nothing can derail us. When a man releases emotional attachment to outcomes, he doesn't lose ambition, he gains endurance. And endurance is what success ultimately bows to. 6. Cut off toxic approval seeking. One of the heaviest chains a man carries is the need for approval. Seeking constant validation from others, friends, family, colleagues, weakens the mind, dilutes decisions, and enslaves a man to opinions that do not serve him. The Stoics warned us against this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When we depend on others' approval, we surrender our reactions to their whims. Our peace, our confidence, and our actions become hostage to external forces. Approval seeking creates fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of being alone. It pushes men to act against their principles, to compromise integrity, and to adopt habits that earn praise but erode character. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the wise man does not look outward for validation. He is measured by his own virtue and the strength of his will. Cutting off this need does not make a man arrogant. It makes him free. Free to act with clarity. Free to take risks that others cannot. Free to cultivate inner strength without distraction. Modern psychology confirms this. People who detach from approval seeking are more resilient, decisive, and focused on meaningful goals. As men walking this path, we must train ourselves to internalize judgment, measure our worth through our discipline, courage, and virtue, and act without the silent chains of others' expectations. Release the need to please. Silence the invisible voices. Stand unshaken. Approval from the world is fleeting, but mastery of oneself is eternal. 7. Cut off excuses. Excuses are the subtle poison that keeps men weak. They are the quiet justifications we tell ourselves to avoid action, responsibility, or growth. A man who makes excuses allows life to control him instead of controlling his life. Seneca taught, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Every excuse steals time, energy, and focus from what truly matters: discipline, self-mastery, and achievement. Intelligent men and those favored by fate understand that the world does not reward excuses, it rewards results. To cut off excuses is to reclaim power. It is to look at challenges squarely, take ownership of failures, and rise without blaming circumstances or people. When we abandon excuses, we stop feeding weakness and begin cultivating resilience, clarity, and unwavering focus. A man without excuses is unstoppable. He transforms adversity into lessons, setbacks into strategy, and obstacles into stepping stones. The path to greatness is not paved with reasons why something cannot be done. It is paved with relentless action, responsibility, and the courage to endure. Cut excuses, take control, live a life defined by action, not by the chains of justification.